Aloha, everybody. Good morning. We're calling to order the October Environmental Management Commission meeting. I am Chair Perez, representing District 4 in Puna. If we could go ahead and start by having roll call of folks in the room, and we could just go from my left and around, and then we'll go to the online folks.
Justin Nellis, Commissioner for District 6.
District 9.
Joe Tsuka, District 3.
Jim Beats, District 1.
For those online, Commissioner Garcia.
Yeah, Gonzalo Garcia, District 7.
Oh,
One second, Gonzalo, we're fixing some audio. We're in a new room today, so we are adjusting our audio settings. We have different audio settings, so we might have to tweak it throughout the meeting. If you could just be patient with us.
I'm sorry. Hold on. The audio out, Tiff? You know, is audio supposed to come out of that guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is called.
Or the TV?
Commissioner Garcia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. This is Gonzalo Garcia, District 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Gonzalo, can you try that one more time, please?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Oh, sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Okay, output device. It should be here. Oh no. Speaker. Panasonic TV. Okay. Yeah, one more time, Gonzalo.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Thank you. We have. Oh, we don't have it connected to the TV. We have our HDMI to this guy. Can't go to the TV. Are we sure this is an audio? Are we sure this is an audio?
Yeah.
Out?
Yes. Is that the little speaker part of it? Does that? I have a backup or no? Do we want to try the backup? I can hear you. He is present.
All right, Gonzalo, one more time. Mic check.
Yeah, good morning.
Oh no. Hold on.
Honestly, sometimes when that happens, you have to like reboot.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's saying read.
It's not saying it?
Should I talk to Gonzalo? Commissioner?
I can hear you guys fine.
Yeah. Our mic is working, but our speaker is not. I am a bit out of ideas here. Okay.
Oh yeah, look, it's still fun. Hold on, USB speaker. That's a good sign.
Boom. There we go.
Good job, guys.
Okay, Gonzalo.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good, here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
And you can hear us fine?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Excellent. And then you are alone,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia. Excellent. Okay, so we have quorum. And we can go ahead and move forward with the approval of the minutes for our last meeting, August 27th of 2025. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor, no opposed, so the motion passes to approve the minutes. I can go ahead and move forward with the public statements on the agenda. If anybody from the public have any testimony to provide at this time for the agenda item, they can either provide that now or choose to go ahead and wait until the agenda item comes up in the meeting. And that goes for folks either in the room or online. How should they indicate online, or is the chat?
Oh, yeah, the chat's open, they can text, they can chat to me.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So if folks online would like to provide public testimony, go ahead and add your name to the chat. Otherwise, we can move forward with our agenda number 4, which is updates from the Department of Environmental Management.
Come up here.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you. Mike Rivera, Division Chief for Solid Waste. For an A on the update for processing a mulch, in the last couple of weeks, we've begun backhauling a mulch from West Hawaii Organics facility to Hilo's facility or to ourselves because we use it as well. About 200 tons have been shipped over since the last couple of weeks, or it's almost 300 cubic yards of material. So you should see that pretty consistent, a couple loads a week on the big long trailers. They won't be full, it'll be about 60 to 80 cubic yards of material. It just helps coming back. It's mainly on their last trip, coming back from Hilo during the day. And that's about it. We've also been, we have a drone as well to monitor the landfill capacity out there. So we've done a couple of drone surveys for the Kilauea green waste piles as well as the Wehoff site. And we've been monitoring that and working with Gerald at HER to coordinate and get the shipments flowing better, more consistent from the west side to the east side. And that's pretty much it for the mulch.
Have you noticed, oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I'm done.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Oh, it's okay. Have you had any instances of like CRB or anything like that come up in the mulch or anything? That's been good.
Not so far. It's clean.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And then if you can go ahead and please state
Oh, sorry.
your name, your name, just so public record is easy to keep with our notes.
That's
Thank you.
just with District 6.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Bill Siska, Commissioner from District 3. I just wanted to thank Mike because all these years we've been asking for regular updates and because it was critical and more so crucial because of the fire hazards there. So thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, it's just part of makes it more efficient for our county and for our division.
Better for everyone.
It's better for everyone.
Thank you so much.
I had just a quick question.
Oh, sure.
Coconut rhinoceros beetle management, what are you, like, how is that working with transportation from the west side to the east side to assure that you're not transporting the CRBs?
Oh, right now, the mulch is just being processed as normal, so it has that temperature range 131, right? So we're not hauling unprocessed. It's already been processed through the natural mulching process to get to enhanced mulch, so minimizes the chances. Now, is it 100%? I think that's the telling point.
I believe they found coconut rhinoceros beetles in the processing on the west side, which is why I'm asking that.
Look,
And so
I have not heard that.
So Craig Kawaguchi, Deputy Director. So they did find it in the traps that was located around the perimeter.
Oh, not in
So
the
that, yeah, no. So that was the initial finding. And then I think by Kaloa, I don't know, it's maybe cooled down and then it moved further towards Kona.
Yeah.
So they do the 131, 115 on the edges before it's distributed. So they're not giving cold mulch out.
Yeah, I know that Big Island Invasive Species Committee is a great resource to help educate on how to manage the CRB for sure.
So we do have a contract with them. What do you call that? The dog? To do checks on the west side or even this side if need to.
Excellent.
And then we do have a contract to do outreach. Because a lot of people still don't know what the beetle looks like or what to look for.
And that's coming, the contract for outreach is coming from DEM?
We got a grant from Department of Ag.
Great. How long is that grant?
To the money runs out. Yeah.
Oh, it's just open.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
It's a pretty joint team effort between the state. You got DOT, you got DOH, Department of Ag, and then DEM involved. So with the BISC around ensuring that you're trying to maintain containment around the island. We have regular meetings and updates on the process there. So
Very good. It sounds like you're collaborating with all of the good people to help manage. Okay, I'm sorry. That was my last.
In District 9, what's the origin of the beetles that are coming into the west side? Do you have any idea?
I don't even like that.
I think they identified. Yeah, I'm not sure.
The speculation was on the news, and I was listening to the report, but it was possible one of the vendors, accidentally brought it in.
Oh, I know the first finding was the Waikoloa in composing tree stumps or something.
Right.
But how it got there,
Yeah, the origin
probably-
of it's speculative.
shipment. I mean,
Are there any more questions for the update on the mulch process? Great.
On B, update regarding the operational analysis of the solid waste division. That has been accepted by DEM and right now being finalized with the consultant. So we have not received that final printed version yet, but once that's received, that'll be passed on to administration and so forth for review and approval before it gets dispersed around. So it is done, it's complete.
Justin, District 6, for the operational analysis, what can we expect to kind of be in that? Is that kind of like its current capacity, the diversion of materials,
I'll say this, in the operational analysis, the information's good in there. What's in there and the content of it, the department itself was already aware of these, whether it's infrastructure, staffing, landfill capacity, and those types of things are in the report. It's a good, well-written report, talks about green waste, the waste management contract. So, and what we need to do as an operation to get more successful than we are in it. It's in improving the transfer stations, how you can condense them down and improve it, what you need to do for equipment, maintenance. It's a whole gamut. It's a pretty thick document to review, but none of it's, I don't want to sound bad, but none of it's surprising to the department. It's just a matter of gathering resources for our group so we can complete those items on that one. It's pretty exhaustive, so once it gets out for review.
Great, so some light reading for next commission.
Yeah.
Do we have a completion date? Do we know about when it will be presented to council and come back to DEM?
No, I will receive the final copy, present it to Craig and Wes, and then we'll present it to administration for review.
Okay.
Then we'll go from there, I guess.
All right. Does the analysis take the current operations? It sounds like it takes current operations under those different indicators that you just spoke about. Does it at all integrate recommendations from existing county plans? So is it recommending, does it have an analysis based on current recommendations that are coming from existing plans?
It does have recommendations, so almost for everything, it's a full gamut of them interviewing our staffs and the operations, and then making recommendations on improvements, et cetera.
We look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions from the commission? Gonzalez, are you trying to?
No,
Nope.
I'm good.
You're
I'm fine.
good, okay. Okay, thank you so much. That's our solid waste division update. We could go ahead and move on to item 4.2, which is wastewater division updates.
I'm going to be providing the integrated wastewater management plan update for the division. The first item is to talk about past and future public education and outreach on the plan that we currently have under contract with Corollo. So in the first round of public education, that was in 2024, we took a geographic approach and had a meeting north, south, east, and west, and invited community members to participate in providing initial feedback on the development of the plan. And so we've been continually working on the plan. We don't have it in draft form at this time, but when we get it in final form, our intent, I should take a step back and say we have a project webpage. We're trying to do that for all of our projects. So we have all the project information on the website. So we have an integrated plan project webpage, which has all of our dates, and we're going to post our documents when they become available, what the plan is about, etc. And so moving forward into our round 2 public education, when the draft becomes, I would say, pre-final, we would go before the public. And our public review period, because EMC is, public meetings, we start with EMC. And then we would seek to get on the council committee agenda to present the plan. And we're hoping that that will generate enough interest from the public that we will get a big turnout. We probably won't go for 4 meetings this time because of the cost last time. So we'll be doing Zoom and meeting options when we get to that pre-final stage, so we can incorporate everyone's feedback into the final draft. And we're anticipating the final draft around the beginning of next year. Did anyone have any questions on that?
So, Jim Bates, District 1, the draft that we will get to see will probably be available when?
I think we don't have a firm date. We need to regroup on that date. I think we're to a point where we just got the new administration up to date on the information. So we were saying fall of this year. It's looking more like winter of this year.
So after the first of the year?
Potentially. I don't have firm dates. That's just my anticipation.
Thank you.
Chair Perez, what is the plan and the thought process of integrating this public comment into the plan? So you say that you want to make sure that there is time to integrate it. What does that look like for this plan? And is it integration to the point of modifying recommendations or basing recommendations off of community input? But what does that process look like, and in what way is the community inputting into this plan?
Sure. So we'll have somebody from the department tasked with collecting all the feedback, and then we'll sit down and kind of categorize the feedback, because you're going to get a lot of the same things, and so we'll kind of group them and maybe provide more information if it's something we don't think the plan is fully answering. We would work with a consultant to provide a more full section on those questions. But yeah, we're going to look at it all, and we're going to incorporate as much as we can.
That's fantastic.
Within-
Yeah, recognizing
within
you can't
reason.
make every, it's not a matter of making everybody I guess happy at the same time, right?
Right. It's challenging.
The realistic nature of it.
Jim B.
Yeah.
So Jim Beats District 1. I know that the next item is the financial plan. Will we be able to see the financial plan before the draft?
Can we hold that question until we get to the
Okay.
agenda item?
Well, since we're discussing it, I thought it might be
I'm
appropriate,
sorry.
but.
Oh, the draft.
So the question was, will you be able to see the financial plan before it's finalized? Well, I'll just jump into that section.
That's fine.
And if you
Is there any other questions for this section of outreach and public outreach and education? Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
And just remind me if I forget to incorporate the answer to your question. So on the financial plan, I'm just gonna read this section to you out of the administrative order on consent, so we're all clear on what the financial plan is. So by June 2028, the county shall develop and submit a financial plan for a 5, 10, and 20-year planning horizon. The financial plan shall include at a minimum a financial management plan that can generate sufficient revenues to cover wastewater operations, compliance activities, planning, design, construction for the CIP projects. For the CIP project list for 5, 10, and 20-year horizon. Estimated annual budgets for all costs of operating, maintaining, and repairing wastewater systems, including but not limited to personnel and staffing, operations, maintenance, repair, projected CIP, county wastewater master plan projects, and a detailed descriptive plan raising sufficient revenue to meet the projected costs and outlined in the budget, including adjustments or increases in user fees, increase of customer base within sewer service areas, taxes, assessments, or other sources of revenue financing mechanisms. That's what's required in 2028. To answer Jim's question, we also have an interim financial plan. Think of it more like a draft version, and that is due
2026.
June 2027.
Oh, 2027.
And so to put this into context, what this plan, what revenues and what projects this plan is supposed to cover, you can kind of read the AOC linearly. We're building into this final financial plan. And so working backwards from the final, we have the interim draft I just mentioned. And before that, we have the final capital improvement priority ranking. And that is a list of all of our capital projects in our inventory and what the priority is for those capital projects. Before that, we have to do condition assessments to get there, to show what we're recommending in that CIP list. And prior to that, we submitted a preliminary priority ranking of our CIP projects in 2024. And so we're starting with what was submitted to the EPA in 2024. We need to do more detailed condition assessments. We need to come up with the final CIP ranking. And then that is what the financial plan is about. How many projects do you have? What are the cost estimates? What is your staffing levels? Can you afford to do all these things? And how are you going to do it?
Right.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Justin, District 6. So I've got a couple questions with this around financing, because I know in Pahala, the wastewater upgrades, I mean, they're already up halfway up the Kake Street right now, Pahala. So are they like the revenue or the kind of the financing and all of this are we kind of figuring that out as we go? You know, I mean, because Pahala, that upgrade is already well underway. So I'm just kind of curious, how is the financial plan? Are we, you know, and then I also want to refer to Stephen Holmes' testimony, this letter, which I found very illuminating with some interesting ideas that I kind of wanted to go into and see if any of these are being incorporated into that. But first off, I guess, like in regards to the Pahala and Nalehu projects in my district, in the district that I represent, are there financial numbers surrounding that yet? Or like I said, are we kind of figuring that out as we go along?
So you'll notice in the AOC section 1, there's a critical capital improvement section. And so it's a list of projects that we have to do, and they have deadlines. And some of them have already passed. So Pahala is not in this AOC, but it's in another AOC.
Oh, okay.
And so Pahala, we're already moving on. We also have construction underway for Hilo and Hale Halovai, pump station, force main replacement. Those are both in this AOC. So there are projects we have to move on because of the deadlines. It's almost a shame that the financial planning is coming in 2028, because we could use it now or maybe before we started some of these projects. So to the answer to your question, it's both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're moving on projects and we're developing our capital plan for future projects.
Gotcha. Because I mean, you know, so Steve Holmes here, he, I guess, drafted the city sewer fund of Honolulu. And I found some of his ideas interesting, and I'm just curious if Hawaii County is implementing, but one of them is this idea of kind of cogen, using kind of digesters to create sludge, then you can use power off of that too. I actually saw an incredible project in Brooklyn actually many years ago, but you know, are some of these ideas in the plans now to be able to do that? So there is, you know, kind of innovative revenue models that we can get instead of just people having to pay sewer fees.
So that is not part of the plan. That is not in the AOC. And I think the department suspects that we're not generating enough waste to be able to get revenue, a viable revenue out of what we have. Not saying that's not something we shouldn't look at in the future, more like research and development type projects, but it's not in this plan. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Commissioner Beats.
Just a question relative to what Justin's asking. This is Jim Beats, District 1. And were you referring to the solid part of the waste, or the R2 or the R1 water, or both?
Are we talking about generating
Revenue, right?
revenue from waste
Yes.
to energy? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Either, right.
Both.
So that is not in this plan. That would need to have its own evaluation. So one thing that's happening is a feasibility study on R1 in the future. Again, we suspect we're producing so little water, and we would have to look at the customer base, you know, who would actually want that water. And Additionally, one of the things that you have to consider with R1 is you have to build a distribution system. And so it's like building a mirrored collection system. So you have your collection bringing it to the plant, and then you have to distribute
Have the
that,
distribution
which was
system.
extremely costly. And so
With one
something to be
exception, when
considered,
Fred,
but not included in this plan.
with one exception, because the K plant is not tied into, but there is a distribution line in the highway extension, right? So there's a supply line available in that area. Or is that involved, is that going to be incorporated into the discussions?
Not in this plan, and I would have to bring in some of our engineers to have that discussion.
Because in that case,
I don't
for
even
that
know if
plant,
that line is connected to anything personally.
I don't think it's connected to
Yeah.
anything because it was built, it was placed, and
Yeah.
it runs from some origin all the way to one of the resorts, Kahanaiki, as I recall. And so that should be a pretty easy supply line as proof of concept, right?
I couldn't answer that question. with
Well, it
the
was just, the
information
question
currently.
was, will that be in consideration? Because the other thing that Justin mentioned about Steve Holmes' testimony was, the need for developing or incorporating, funding process for sewage, and possibly as we have, as the EMC has supported previously, and certainly in addition to our PIG resolutions, and that's the development of a sewer fund. So I don't know the best way to really address our ability as the EMC to help discuss these ideas.
Mhm. We talked about potentially you guys bringing in experts. We got to 2027 to come up with a draft. And so we have a time that we can be educating ourselves, right? Department of Environmental Management is not the finance department. And so, we have our work cut out for us. So I think that would be an opportunity for commission to start exploring some of these ideas and bringing in folks to present to the department.
Well, and see how Oahu has used their enterprise fund and sewage fund to, how that has worked. And if we have insufficient supply, where are the areas where we could have sufficient supply?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And because ultimately over time, the island's certainly going to grow, and it seems like it's in our best interest to find as many revenue generating potentials as possible. Because instead of
now
expecting all the taxpayers to carry the burden. Right. So I think that's a great idea. I think we should plan on doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had a wonderful conversation with Kelly, and we were able to kind of pinpoint some opportunities to educate in certain structures and frameworks. I guess a follow-up question to Commissioner Beets is, the EMC as a body has made these recommendations in the past in multiple ways through the development and the recommendations from our permitted interaction group, from our 2023 work, I believe, or 2024 work, as well as just integrating these recommendations into other forms that have gone to DEM as well as county council. And so I guess my question is the education and the experts coming in, how is that going to help where the EMC has already been making these recommendations and they're not being integrated currently? So is bringing experts in, like, to not waste their time also, to bring in financial experts in infrastructure development and those sectors, it is a lift. And I would hate for that lift to not be valuable and actually integrated into the plans then at that step.
Okay. So I'm not sure I've seen the PIG recommendations. If the recommendations that this is something additional we should study, that I think that becomes a capacity issue, right, for us. And so if the request is study, more, research and develop more, that's going to be a challenge for the department, just doing what we have to do now. But if the recommendation is, we want to study this, and we're going to pull together these pieces, and we're going to help you study this, I think that is an opportunity. And we can use these meetings to do that work.
So maybe one thing from this conversation that I'm getting more understanding and more clarity on is with that from DEM and kind of the guidance from DEM and support from DEM, possibly an item that the commission can discuss is looking into those technical advisory capacity opportunities that are offered by EPA, and possibly seeing if we can submit on our own as a commission to have them look into different investment landscapes that would be opportunistic for Hawaii County, different means of investing and supporting cesspool conversion or changing overall our current structure of financing, because it's obviously not really working for our county. And so what concerns me in looking at all of these AOC mandates and the timeline is I feel in a lot of these situations, we're putting the cart before the horse. Just as you mentioned, it would be great to have the financials now. And so I'm like, I'm curious, and can you do that? Can you make that decision and saying, like, yes, this says that in fiscal year of 2028, we have to have our financials done, but it's really becoming a barrier in all of these other plans and research. And so is there a way and an opportunity that DEM can go back to EMC, because we are under an AOC, and say, hey, it would really be valuable if we did this now, so we can have a financial calendar and a financial understanding of these changes that we are going to make.
And you meant go back to EPA.
I'm sorry, EPA, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm so sorry, yeah. Or even make that decision on your own as a division and a department, recognizing that you have so many critical infrastructure demands as a whole. And I mean, the first thing that really an individual even does, like, you wouldn't build a house before putting together your budget. And so to me, that I feel like that's what we're doing, is we're putting together infrastructure plans without even understanding our needs of financing.
I agree with you on because we do have our capital budget annual process, right? And so that's a 6-year planning horizon. And so with that capital budget process, we put forward the priorities that we have in these deadlines. And so, no, but then also, yes, I think we do need to have conversations about that with EPA. We do have quarterly meetings with them.
Might be something to consider.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I go back to this EMC, like this AOC right here, this final priority ranking that's due December 31st of 2026. It has financial plan requirements in that report that's due, if I'm reading this correctly. So I'm looking at section 9E of the AOC, and within that priority ranking document that's due the December 31st of 2026, section, what's the financial component?
page are you on?
4-9. 4-9 of it. But
Is that somewhere in the packet, Chair?
it's the financial section of what, oh, I'm sorry. You know what, it's the supporting documents that I'm just referring to based off of the agenda. So it's the actual AOC. Yeah, I'm sorry, it might not have been attached, but now that I'm reading it again, I guess a list of all capital projects consideration, including new construction, equipment, facility management plans, and major studies, ranking criteria used to rank project justification and project prioritization, technical project scope for the construction of completion of projects. I just don't know. I guess why I'm saying that is estimated operations and maintenance costs for each project and an evaluation of current AMP and CIP efforts. And so that's 2026 deadline. And so, yeah, just maybe, I mean, I guess that might be my thought is there a way to get these financial questions answered maybe before 2028?
I would say,
Or
think about what those questions are, and I can tell you which ones we can answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good step.
Mhm.
That's a step that we can do as a commission, is maybe put together more questions. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, Commissioner.
Yawatsuka Commissioner, District 3. In light of what Jim said and Justin said about R1 water and the cost of it, because I come from District 3 and we have the pool pump station. If the new design is going to incorporate, still use that pump station, are they planning to still use it?
There is no plan to decommission the pool pump station.
So then my understanding is all goes to the pump station, goes back to the facility, comes back treated. So rather than at a cost to make a new facility to handle the R1, you can just, if it goes back to pump station, have a system set up so you could truck that water over into the west side, set up tanks. I mean, I'm just saying, because when I visited the one in Fresno, I mean, it's really remarkable how they do that. And I'm just saying for my district, rather than send that treated, which is not always fully treated, into the ocean, why not turn that around and send it to the west side? We truck trash there. We can probably trash water there. So I don't know. I'm just say the cost on building a new one, just use that one if it's still part of the plan. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. We would have to, first thing I'm thinking is, will DOH allow it? We would have to do some sort of operations study on the cost effectiveness, right? How much are we selling that water? What are the costs of operations to get it over there?
So even not so much selling it, because the county is the whole island. So if we're going to truck that water over to the west side, it is there for emergency. That helps the county out. So I don't know why there should be a charge for that. Probably just the cost to set it up. I think, because that's wasted. And then we're still being used in Kilkaha to funnel that money, the water into the ocean.
Well, the EMC's function is to advise the county on the functions and issues within our department. And so we would really be looking to assistance on evaluating some of those ideas, because the current capacity of our staff, we're all wearing 3 hats right now.
That's another thing.
So just to be honest,
I know. Yeah. But working with DHHL, they will probably work with you folks on how to establish some kind of financing or something, rather than not communicating to them. And the county actually does what they do. They send the treated water back out into our machine. So.
Yeah, so we're having Craig Kaguchi, Deputy Director. We are having discussions with DHHL. Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
And this is just a practical question. So Jim Beats, District 1. If we as commissioners are participating in discussions on financial plans, do we have to have an agreement of some type? Can we participate in a discussion? I guess as a member of our council, or do we have to have approval to do so?
Are you meaning to set forth, like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand your
Well,
question.
Kelly had suggested that, we participate in some of the discussions on the financial plan development. So if we're discussing that, do we have to have any kind of approval or agreement if we're doing this as commissioners?
So I think that we can put it, as long as we put it as an agenda item, we absolutely can discuss it on an agenda. It just has to be public. So we can create a PIG, and that is a permitted interaction group. And then we have that flexibility to be able to meet and have those discussions. And then a report would have to be submitted, like what we did to the EMC, the broad EMC. What Kelly is suggesting is what we would then do to integrate it into our agendas and actually make them part of our agendas, so we can have that open discussion and possibly bring in those expertise, can present to us, can present to DEM, and our meetings can become that discussion place.
Okay, because I may have misunderstood this, Kelly, because when you were saying having discussions on the fiscal planning, I thought that would mean we would be meeting with DEM employees to have that discussion.
We can only have discussions publicly, or because of the sunshine law, it's like two of you at once, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So you can go in individually, and we can talk about how that would work within the structure of our meetings. And then as if we were able to get to a certain place within the public structure of our meetings, then as individual commissioners, we could then, go in, or we can, I think that we're trying to figure out exactly how it looks, honestly. So it might just be creating and having a little bit of flexibility as we move in that direction and framework.
And as we put our ideas together, it may require us to establish a new PIG, maybe at the next meeting.
Possibly. Yep. That can be
because
a
we've already
recommendation
brought up
that-
enough questions that I think the commission members need to form a list of questions that we want to ask and have addressed, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Council District 6. Yeah, and to piggyback, some of the questions is, has the county looked at creating an enterprise fund approach to pay for the sewer system? And also right here, he mentions that there is an HSAC. Sorry, I'm a little ignorant to that. What does that stand for? HSAC to share between the counties. So it seems like there already is a way where maybe we don't need to reinvent the wheels, but maybe the EMC can bring Steve Holmes and some other, see how other islands are handling this and be able to compile that and see what would fit for our island and what wouldn't. But yeah, I'm just a little worried that we might get into these projects and they're going to be upside down, meaning that, the sewer fees aren't going to pay for it. Our bond rating is going to go kaput, and it's going to be a very and then the interest rates are going to, us as a county are going to get hit with massive interest rates. So, yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be into starting a PIG to have these conversations and maybe pulling finance into this and having kind of a working group to strategize on how we could do this, because, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's some really good ideas that, but where do they work on the island? Where do they make sense? Where do they not? But I would hate to see us get like hundreds of millions of dollars into a project and being like, well, this idea of cogen or a digester could really work here, but it doesn't make sense now because we're already too far into where we're at. So I guess that's kind of where it's my 2 cents. Yeah.
I think the idea of bringing in, in reviewing other models, other models that work for other municipalities that we can that are on the same scale, as we are here at the Hawaii County, is a good first move to educate ourselves to be able to make those hard decisions we're gonna have to make.
And do you think that would be helpful for DEM, for the EMC to kind of take the lead on this? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, are there any other questions online?
No.
No, okay. Thank you so much, Kelly. We really appreciate that discussion and really clear direction of how we can, be better of assistance and make use of our time. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. We are going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 3, a short presentation regarding operations and maintenance budget process. Wait. Yes.
Yes, good morning. I'm Robin Bauman, Business Manager for Environmental Management. So I'll be speaking on item 3 regarding the operating budget. So the operating budget process is a lengthy process. It kicks off in September and ultimately ends in June when the council approves the final budget for fiscal year 26-27. So we're currently in that process, working on our first drafts of the budget. Those will be done this month, and that will go through an interactive review process with the Department of Finance in advance of the mayor submitting his first draft of the budget to the county council by March 1st. That version of the budget will be reviewed by the county council during special budget review meetings in April. Those are scheduled for April 14th through 17th. And following that, the mayor will then submit his second draft of the budget by May 5th. And that's the version that the county council will ultimately approve or amend. They may amend it. And that will go through 2 readings at full council, with the second reading scheduled for June 4th. So that's kind of the review process. So I guess the optimal time for the EMC to kind of review and provide comments and recommendations would be after the mayor submits his March 1st draft of the budget.
March 1st. Thank you so much. It's Robin.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Is there a way to just get like a bullet list of that timeline? I just don't want to make sure I have October, March, and then April, and then May 5th second review, or for first second review, and then if another second review is needed, June 4th. But do you mind sharing that timeline just so we can have it as EMC?
Yeah, I can get that to Tiffany. With that
Thank
scheduled
you.
states.
Thank you so much. So just as a reference, this was added to the agenda. Kelly went over the process for what budget was it last month? I'm so sorry.
Capital
The CIP,
improvement?
but thank
Yeah,
you.
Robin
Yeah.
actually gave the presentation and the meeting, yeah, and then I followed up with the doc.
So we have the review process from last month for the CIP budget process. And so now we will have the operation maintenance budget process calendar timeline. So we can, and those are standard, right? Those are pretty calendar every year around the same time. So we can know as an EMC, and we can kind of take ownership of making sure that we're aware of those budgets going through council and that we can kind of take a look at them and be able to offer input, it sounds like, on that March date as the mayor and is reviewing the draft. Yes, Kelly.
So I'm always thinking about succession planning, right? So does EMC have a calendar that gets passed on or documents that get passed on so we can start to build that knowledge base? And I just think this is a fundamental timeline.
That's my goal is to at least get us that kind of organized as to how that gets passed off. I don't know if it like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's your job. As to how it gets passed off, I don't know. I'm referring to Corp Council of can that, if it is structured and it's just like basic timeline and processes, can that be stored, I guess, for EMC after I'm not here?
Deputy Corporation Counsel Sinclair Salas Ferguson, you guys can do that. You can create a timeline that you can pass on and have as a template for the commission to use till eternity.
There you go. Yeah. So I'll try to get those drafts together, and then I also will share them. And we will share them and then make sure that they're correct and accurate. And then hopefully we can all kind of be a little bit more organized in our meetings. Yeah. Are there any other questions regarding item 3 from the commission? If not, we will be moving on. Thank you, Rob. Oh, yep. Commissioner
This is related to wastewater. At the last meeting, I was going through our notes and there was a request to the EMC for a review of the NEPD's permit application. And I think we were going to receive a draft of that. I didn't know if that was available. And it was specifically for the Gila wastewater NEPD's permit. And I think what the question was mostly about was the fog component of that draft.
So Sinclair, again, that's not on the agenda today, but you guys can talk about it in future agenda items based on the next agenda, because it's not on the agenda.
Okay, it was, from the last agenda, and there was a point and it said it would be provided to us, but I don't think we received any.
It was overlooked, so thank you. And I have taken note of it and can add it to November's agenda.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure we're doing our job. So.
Thank you. Yeah. For all commissioners, absolutely, as you're reading through those notes and there's things within them that you want to make sure carry over to the next meeting, please share them with me in email. Yeah. So it's hard to keep track of all of the requests in all the different formats. Great. Okay. We can go ahead and adjourn maybe for let's see, a recess 10 minutes. So come back at 10:10.
Okay. We are re-adjourning our meeting for the Environmental Management Commission. We were just about ready to hop into new business. So I can ask again if any folks have testimony from the public at this time, either in person or online, if folks would like to go now.
Yes, we have 3 in person and to be determined if, for online.
Okay, we had a number of testimonies submitted this month, and so it's exciting to see public involvement. So folks have 3 minutes of testimony. You might hear like a little bing, and that's just going to be a warning of that you have 30 seconds left or a little bit of time left. So just if you could wrap up your statement at that time. But we'll go ahead and open the floor to our public testimony.
Okay, we start with Mary.
Should I sit here?
Yeah.
Hi,
Ready, 3 minutes.
ready? Okay, hi, I'm Mary Jennings. I have a background in resource management and environmental science, but I'm here today as a parent and a teacher from Pahola. What I've learned just this past year
I'm
is.
so sorry. Can you please,
Yes.
the agenda item that you're
Agenda.
writing testimony for?
Item 5.1, Bill 83.
Excellent, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so
Okay.
sorry to
No,
interrupt you.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't done this for so long. So recently I've learned how unaware our students and a lot of adults in our community are of all the issues with around trash. Our landfills filling up and how much the tons trucked daily across the island. The numbers are just so staggering that I think universally when people hear that, they know that immediate action is needed. And I think that this Bill 83 provides a really great opportunity for that action, not only in addressing the problem of the trash and plastics, but as well as just awareness and public education. So for our residents, for my students, my community, and as well as all of the visitors to our island, like the 1.2 million. So these large county events are drawing people to our island who have somewhere in their heart a love for natural beauty that Hawaii represents to them. And what a wonderful way to welcome them in with not just aloha, but a message of caring for the island as well. I see so many benefits from Bill 83. One thing I have been discussing it a lot with students, and that one thing that comes up a lot is that the fine seems a little low for large events, the amount of the fine. But overall, I'm personally in support, and I hope that you support that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Next up would be Christine.
Aloha, good morning. My name is Christine Kubat. I'm the Executive Director of Recycle Hawaii. Very excited to see this bill moving, and we are here. Agenda item 8151. And so I did submit testimony, but in addition, I'll share some anecdotal information. One is, I'm very often at an event, sitting next to a sort station. People are kind of used to seeing me there. And I can tell you, if there's no plastic coming into those bags, we could get diversion rates as high as 99, maybe even 100%. And so imagine now all of the events on this island were able to divert everything into a composting operation. The next thing I'll say is that although we lack formal composting, county paid for sponsored composting capacity, there's a very strong network informally throughout the island. Anytime we do an event, we always have someplace to take it. I guess technically we're breaking the law, but I can tell you that I sat next to Renee Uchimasubo from Department of Health at a hearing at Department of Health when we were trying to loosen the regulations around composting. And her testimony was, we don't need to change the law because we're not enforcing it. So there you go. We're not worried about that. Another thing that I will share is that over the past couple of years, as part of our organization, I've been very involved in the global plastic treaty negotiations, and I travel around the world. I travel across the US, throughout the state, and I've made it a habit everywhere I go to ask people, do you know about plastic? And not a single person says no. Everybody says yes. Maybe their understanding is it's everywhere, it's a pollution, it's in my blood. Maybe they have a really deep level of understanding, but there's not a single person who says no. So that proves how pervasive this problem is. What people don't know is they don't know what to do about it. And what we're doing about it is right here today. You folks right here, all of us in this room today, we are doing something about plastic pollution. We are saying that when it comes to unnecessary uses, we're going to phase them out. Another quick story I'll share is in Paris.
30
at the
seconds.
Global Plastics Treaty Negotiation. I got invited to this event. There's the Seine River, there's the Eiffel Tower, there's the people who are managing materials for the Olympics, super high level stuff. And what did they tell us at that event? They said that the producers are never going to stop using plastic until you make it illegal. They told us right that. Everybody from the highest level to my tiny little
Time.
grassroots organization, that's what they told us. So that's what we're doing today, and I ask you to support.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next up, Roy.
I want to talk about Bill 83. It's to do with the plastics. I heard a couple days ago about the High Five program has a lot of excess funding from people not turning them in for 5 cents. So I was thinking, I'm from Mr. K's Recycling. We do all types of recycling. So this one is for the High Five. My rate of recovery from sending plastic, so like PET plastic, the beverage bottle plastic is part of the High Five. What we get from shipping it out is about what it takes for us to ship it out is about 14 cents. The plastics that we get from our end user, the payout is about 4 cents right now. And that's why all the recyclers are actually not taking any plastic, and it's being trashed into our landfills, which are probably about 15 years old. So we need to divert this plastic. And the only way we can send it out is if we have the funding from the county, or somehow that it's called, we had diversion funds before, and they would subsidize us to ship our cardboard, newspaper, plastic as well, to get it off the island. And I heard from, I don't know what I was listening to, some kind of high five, it was on the TV, maybe I was looking at the city council or something, but they were saying they have all this excess funding and they don't know what to do with it. But this is a good way of actually using that excess funding. We're talking in the millions, like 83 million or something like that, that they have, that the people are not using, or we're not redeeming, so the county has the excess funding, or the state has the excess funding. That's why I'm trying to get somehow some diversion funds so we could actually get this product off the island rather than dumping it in the landfill. That's part of the idea on this one.
Time.
Thank you.
No more in person. I'm not sure. We don't have anybody online, it looks like.
Nobody else online?
Yeah, maybe clarify again that you
Okay.
to ask.
If anybody else would like to provide testimony, new business, section 5.
They can message me in the chat.
Message, yep, right, but message now. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start with 5.1 pursuant to Hawaii County Code. The commission will discuss County Council Bill 83, which relates to the plastic and polystyrene waste. County Council has requested the commission's input and recommendations on this bill. To my understanding, this recommendation does have a deadline of 45 days to get it to county council. Is that correct? Yes, okay. Today. Is that today from when it was submitted?
No, you guys will have next week too, right?
Well, I was not, let me look at the date that it was submitted, actually.
It's October 15th. October 15th.
October 15th. Oh. Excellent. Okay. No, that's okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make it recognize that this is a time sensitive agenda item.
October 15th.
October 15th is when council submitted it.
So November 29th.
Okay. We will, as long as we have quorum. As long as we have quorum, we will have a meeting November 26th, yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to start by stating that. And this is really just a discussion that is open floor to the commission to be able to discuss Bill 83 and to be able to discuss the formation or what we would like to present to council. So I'm gonna kind of turn it back to commission. And if anybody would like to start the discussion, I welcome that.
So I'll start, Justin, District 6. I spent a lot of time over the past couple days reading all the testimony. I just like to go on the record that we had 60 pieces of written testimony in favor for the commission to support the bill and one against. You know, the breadth of the testimonies and I think of how much people care about this issue, and I guess how systemic the problem is, I think is really, really important. And I think Bill 83, is it the end all be all? I don't think so, but I think it's an excellent first step to get us where we need to go. Because I think that if we look at just like pure, you know, market economics of continuing and the status quo, which is going to be the proliferation of single-use plastics. It is a bit cheaper. I was a restaurant owner in former times, so I understand, you know, the margins of restaurants, and yeah, the cheaper plastic container might be 5 or 10 cents cheaper, and when that's aggregated, yes, I understand that does add a bit to your bill. But what I think also is left out is that we're also paying for the landfill space as taxpayers and as business owners. And I don't think that those costs are necessarily being factored in when people are saying, oh, well, my costs are going to go up for these products. So I think that's one. Another thing is from just a sustainability circular economy type, you know, where I think where Hawaii as a state and us as a county wants to go is plastic isn't circular. It's used, you know, single-use plastics, it's used once and it's landfilled. Or it's blown into our oceans or on our beaches. I mean, it's awful, especially if some of the beaches are just riddled with plastic, and it's very disturbing, to be perfectly honest. So if we're looking at moving into compostable goods instead of plastic, one, if they do blow out, they're going to decompose and go into the soil. So that's one benefit, just from the simple, yeah, you know, you're at an event and the wind blows and things get blown around. There's that. But also from a food security standpoint, these plastic containers can go into a commercial composting system and get generated into the soil. In my district, in District 6, we have an in-vessel composting unit. And we've done experiments where these, you know, the PPI forks or whatever, you put them in, they're gone in a day, you know, and these in-vessel composting units are sanitary, they eliminate all the pathogens, and they create soil that can go back into the ag system to grow food that we need to eat, that could then be composted, turned into soil again, you know, in perpetuity. So I do think that that this commission should support this bill, and then we should also be working with the county and the state to look at how we can change the existing regulations to regulate compost and these products as an agricultural commodity rather than as, I guess, like a biohazard is what they are now. And so, you know, I know that that's going to take some time, but I think that this bill goes a really good way. And I mean, also, as a lot of testimony had said, Maui and Oahu are already there. So I think it makes sense for us to take this step and to start developing systems and markets to create like a circular economy and the feedstock to make it financially feasible to invest in commercial composting systems locally in our communities around the island.
There are other comments? This is our discussion, so feel free to add in. Yeah, Commissioner Bates.
Yeah, Jim Bates, District 1. I agree with everything. Just started like a bit on the
Absolutely.
When we're doing discussions, you can ask, you know, if you want to discuss, just raise your hand. It's easier to say Commissioner Bates, and then you don't have to repeat your name. Start talking. Excellent.
Thank you.
I agree with what Justin said. I think it's the responsibility is on the EMC to also provide, as Justin was saying, the other issues that need to be addressed. So if we are supporting it, I think it's our responsibility that compostable items, recyclable items should be addressed in, you know, as soon as possible. And I believe that was a recommendation. Yes.
I mean, I can provide comments, Chair Perez. I really see no negative in this bill. I agree with Commissioner Canellis in that I think that this can be a stepping stone. This by no means is the solution that's going to get Hawaii County or even the state out of using plastics. But this is absolutely in alignment of State Senate Resolution 38. It's in alignment with Aloha Aina Economic Futures Assessments tools. It's in alignment with numerous action items that can be found in our Hawaii County Integrated Action Climate Plan. It can also be found as supporting action items from the state in the State Climate Commission. So I feel that on all levels, really, we have invested in this process already and it is outlined in all of these plans collectively. So for me, I just think that it's such a clear, obvious support. I also do have recommendations that I found within my review. I have 4 recommendations that I outlined. And I'm happy to kind of share those. One of them are in alignment with somebody that provided testimony today, which is the fee structure for the violations. I agree, the fee structure does seem low, and the idea that if somebody has, or if we have a event, say with 200 people, and they charge for a bottle of water $5, they'll make a total of $107 $875 for that event. The fine for that event is $400. So even paying the $400, they could choose to pay the $400 and still walk away with $475 of revenue. So I do think that maybe a possible reevaluation of the fine structure and the amounts would be beneficial. I also would recommend including the need for a collection center and a mulch center. What those distribution centers look like is pending. I think that there's a lot of research going on right now, as well as demonstration projects and ideas that could be investigated and replicated. But I do think that this is the first step of socializing a zero waste society and socializing the change that our businesses are gonna have to go through, that we as consumers are gonna have to get used to, just like we had to get used to the plastic bags that I'm still struggling sometimes, honestly. I should invest in Target bags, but it's so bad, but we do need time to be able to make these transitions to zero waste, and I think this bill can create that space to do so. And I also am in support of it.
I'm also in support of this, but I think what is essential in this ongoing process is there's got to be a lot of community education, because it's nice to have something that's going to help everybody and the world and all of that, but if the community or the residents don't see a need, or they're not really fully educated on the aspects of this, it's good. They're going to have, besides the monetary benefit, they're going to have to want to do it. And if there's no education to tip them toward wanting to do it, I think it's going to be a little hard. It's going to take a lot more time.
No, I agree with everyone. And also, I do know that there has been educational outreach at my kid elementary school, and that's what stays in the back. Yeah. So, and it starts in kindergarten. When they first start, they learn to develop certain skills. So I think, given the example of China and Japan, places like that where they actually teach the kids civil responsibility. And they're not too young to learn. So, yeah, we can have that. It's a very powerful when it comes to messaging.
This is Chair Perez, I was very surprised by the overwhelming support from our youth across the island in testimony. We received an overwhelming support for this from Hawaii County youth, which is exciting to me because it seems that the youth are really asking for a change in the current status of what we're going through right now.
So maybe the county can provide the tools and containers or the signage to the different schools. Because when I walk into, you see banners to advertise certain things about. So, that could be part of it too. We kind of drop the kids off. They can see that right up front. And, the kids say, oh, yeah, we do that. And that's it.
Yeah,
Commissioner
Canellis, piggybacking off what Commissioner Kamitani and Commissioner Otsuka had said, I think education is critical to this working. And what we have found at our school, in Pahala High and Kahu High and Pahala Elementary, and even in Nahalegu Elementary, is the zero waste youth program happening there. Ulu Makuakane has been really great in incorporating these learning tools of like flashcards, of having kids sort out, doing mock sorting and all of this, and seeing
seeing the youth, I mean, to be honest, it's almost teaching old dogs new tricks is a lot harder than teaching the youth because the youth are actually picking up on it. So, you know, I'm wondering if, you know, in our recommendations to the county council, if there are funds that can be appropriated with this bill for educational outreach in communities. Because I think that would go a really long way in helping ease in and phase this in and having you know, our island community as a whole be able to, you know, accept it and roll with these changes rather than having it be a stark, like, you know, rough change and all of that. So, but it does work. You know, education does work with these things, and we're seeing it in our school. And our diversion rate in our school, I think, is 83% in our cafeteria program, which I know the students are really proud.
That's excellent. There was several testimony as also that highlighted the need for education and outreach to the public. So I think that really coincides with what we heard from our communities. One additional possible recommendation that I wanted to discuss here was even modifying the prepackaged language that includes foods to include water bottles within that. And I know that is a huge ask. I'm wondering if it's not within the same timeline, if it's just a recommendation to have it a phased timeline. And so I was curious of other commissioners' thoughts on that. Yeah, Commissioner Komatani.
If something like that is going to be successful, it's gotta be a repeated message. Just putting it out one or a couple times and to try to get youth involved or to believe it. The public, I think, has to be maybe almost barraged by this message, because if it's not gonna sink in that 5 cents they're gonna get for bringing their bottle to the recycle places, you know, it's not gonna be that easy a thing. But they just gotta keep pushing the message constantly.
Mr. Nellis, yeah, I mean, you know, plastic water bottles is, you know, seeing those crates and crates of all those plastic when, you know we have good drinking water on the island and stuff, it like hurts the soul almost to see that. And, you know, I don't know if it's, you know, I'm hoping, you know, that I know there is aluminum bottled water, there are alternatives to that. I mean, reusable water is, you know, I see all of us here with our reusable water bottles and fills in. I mean, is that something we could recommend to the county, is how we could potentially upgrade or expand our potable water capabilities for events and all of that to make fill stations more like a part of our culture here. I'm not an expert on what that would take, but, you know, more drinking fountains around our cities and populated areas, having, you know, developing, you know, at community centers, at, you know, ball fields, places where there are big events, you know, is there a way that the county can invest in potable water drinking infrastructure so that way we can get more into, you know, I'm sure the plastic water bottle lobby is going to lobby hard against this, but it makes sense to use the water that we have here rather than continually importing water here, and then not only that, then landfilling all of the bottles, because as we heard from Mr. K, you know, only a fraction of them actually get redeemed. So not only are we losing out on the revenue from the redemption, but then we're also having to pay for it to go sit in a landfill and degrade over however many hundreds of years. So yeah, I mean, I would totally support that. You know, maybe working with the county and seeing how we can.
Commissioner,
You know, given all of that, you know, maybe the Department of Education, because we want to target the kids, you know, work with them on some kind of solution to provide the schools with the necessary.
Like almost as like part of a, your first day at school, you get your, your reusable drinking water bottle or whatever.
And the kids get all excited for doing that, so yeah. to me,
That's a great idea.
Why, thank you so much.
We're
I have some.
It probably could be not only the exciting part for the young students getting a few free things, but it should be easy to get donors to provide funding for them. Once they get to put their logo on it. It shouldn't be there.
Because the schools do provide t-shirts, they provide their little welcome packs and all of the necessary things. So maybe that could be part of what they get at the beginning of the year. They take ownership.
Right.
The kids are really good about that, and a lot of them can't afford it.
Right.
So it is good that they are provided everybody's safe.
Great ideas.
Is there present regulation that Department of Education and other departments are not allowed to spend money on bottled water? That might be an approach.
A lot of them have to update their water system too, because I understand from some schools that the fountains, they've been working on some fountains in certain schools because they have to update it. So maybe when they change it out, they can incorporate new ones. That would work this out. Like at the airports, they have all that. You can take your container and make sure.
So Commissioner Perez, so there have been, so Maui County as well as Oahu County have gone through this transition already. And I think that they could be good examples to go in and look at what they did for outreach education, what worked with them, what didn't. So maybe that's even something that we as a commission can kind of put on another future agenda, is seeing if we can connect maybe with somebody from Maui County's program and see if there's any lessons learned that we can adapt and modify for Hawaii County. Same with Oahu, because Oahu, and just for dates, which, I'm, as everybody knows, much more in the wastewater spectrum, and I did do my due diligence of taking a deep dive into 83. And I was really surprised by some of the dates of the other counties. So Maui's zero waste program went into effect in January 1st of 2022. And Oahu's single-use plastic comprehensive ban was actually implemented and passed in 2019. So these are things that other counties have implemented already, and they are showing precedents across the state to be able to do this. So I think that they will have good lessons learned, I'm sure, from their programs that maybe we can learn from. Yeah, so I will, I started within my research, putting together just a personal document of stuff, but what it ended up being is what I would feel as a pretty good structure for a recommendation to be reviewed by the commission and added to. What I was a little maybe unknowledgeable about is what is the exact process for co-editing and how this is to be shared. And I just wanted to maybe guidance from Corporation Counsel of, we've not gone through this process as a commission yet, when we've been asked for specific recommendations from council and given a timeline. So what would be, I guess, if this could be like a structure to be able to feed into or to inform, how do we begin this process?
There's a lot of ways, but there's a lot of ways to do this, but typically what commissions do, because you guys have to have at least 5 votes and agree on a recommendation or comment, right? You guys can't act as individuals, the commission has to act as a whole. what I've seen, there's many ways to do it, but I've seen somebody bring a draft to a meeting and the meeting hash through that draft and adopt certain aspects of it and issue that letter. That's one way to do it. You guys could do it right now. You could create a draft right now and vote on it right now and issue the letter today. You could assign somebody to create a draft to bring to the next meeting for you guys to discuss and adopt as a whole or as amended. You could have two people go out and work together on a draft for the commission to consider, but that gets so tricky because two people together on that draft. So it would just be like maybe the commission wants to that position on it or agree to vote on it. That's kind of the basics. You guys have a tight window, so you either gotta do it today or at the next week. Have adopted a formal document that has the commission's comments and recommendations. I think the first thing is like, yeah, the quizzing.
Well, if we're gonna provide comments on it, then how do we circulate it?
What do you mean circulate it?
If it's a draft.
No, so that's what he's saying, that's what Sheriff Perez is asking, we have to do all of your work here at the only way to have one person go out and create a draft based on what you guys talked about today. And that could be part of you'll get it in the commission packet. So you'll have it 6 days or whatever, however many days before the meeting, mull it over and discuss it at the next meeting.
Yes, absolutely.
So I mean, could we, I mean, I guess how do the other commissioners feel? Could we kind of go point by point right now
Yeah.
and start developing language? Like, it seems like there's kind of a consensus that we're all kind of in agreement on the bill. So should we go through, should we send a recommendation and then, or like a letter of support and then issue recommendations underneath and go through each of those bullet by bullet, or, I guess whatever anyone feels comfortable doing today.
Is that appropriate? That's what I don't know, that's why I should.
You guys can just go through it orally. Point by point.
Okay.
So you guys can start like that.
I guess I'm gonna ask the question. Who, and this is gonna put us on a spotlight because it's a quorum question for next month. Are we able to make quorum for next month? Is everybody available to make quorum? I know I will be, so quorum will be, and the reason that I'm asking this is just order of operations in that, we could go ahead, I feel comfortable submitting my notes, basically. I'm just gonna call them my notes right now. And then for edit and review for next meeting. But if not, then I do feel that we would need to do all of our edits and at least draft a solid draft right now if we feel that we can't make our November meeting. Because that means that we will not be able to get our recommendations to council in time within the 45 days that are allotted. So can I have a raise of hands of who's able to make our November 26th meeting, which is our next month meeting? And it is a day before Thanksgiving.
Are we able to change the date? Does it have to be Wednesday? For next month.
Yeah, I know we have modified dates due to availability of rooms and such. I think that would be a access question. Yeah. But my gauge is that from the lack of responses and confirmation is that maybe what we should do is just go ahead and confirm something right now, just so we could have.
You guys can start by simple questions like, do we support this bill? No, that's a simple question, right? And then, are there any recommendations that people wanted to regarding this bill? Because you're only commenting on this bill, you're not making comments and recommendations about other stuff about this bill.
Absolutely, just this bill, yes. So I have we support this is a letter of recommendation for support as of right now. I've highlighted the impact. Solid waste is the third largest emissions contributor in Hawaii County compared to the second of commercial energy and the top contributor of transportation for the Hawaii County Integrated Climate Action Plan report. As an island community, it's important to reduce and use plastics in order to protect our shorelines, oceans, and watersheds. Benefits to eliminating plastic production: reduces waste, promotes healthier soils, and avoids long-term pollution associated with traditional plastics and produces green jobs. I have identified resources of state statutes that this Bill 83 supports, as well as a Lahaina Economic Futures Assessment Tool, which is suggested by the state. So this is, I think, the most important part, which is the recommendation. So far, I have the reevaluation of the fine structure. I have to develop processing center and mulch collection by community or regional scale. I have the 2 articles that are found within the climate action plan that highlights this specific bill, chapter 20, to be able to establish waste management goals that are expressed and measured in terms of environmental and community impacts, such as greenhouse gases, toxicity, and energy use. So these are to keep these items out of a landfill. I did have discussion on modify exemption, which is the prepackaged foods and include water bottles within the ban. Possibly start with schools and include reusable water bottles. Number 4 is the public and education and outreach. And this is actually provided in public testimony from Ramsey Mansauer, which is the previous Director of Environmental Management, and he provided a section code that actually calls for this public outreach and education as well, for clear communication about product labeling, acceptable materials, and disposable procedures, collaboration between the county business associations and sustainability programs. And then the 5th recommendation, this is actually a recommendation, phase on equitable enforcement to avoid undue hardship. Enforcement should be phased, and temporary exemptions under section 200503 should be used responsibly. That is regarding the enforcement of those fines due to hardship, and there's a process that's outlined in the bill already that outlines that. So it's just a recognition.
So did you guys make a decision of whether that's gonna have to work on next week?
We are not, there has not been a unanimous, yes, we will be there. So that's why we're doing this right now.
So I would recommend like issue by issue. Whether it's included or not.
Excellent, okay,
So
excellent.
start with the first thing.
So the reevaluate of the fine structure.
Or we start with the first thing, you guys support it and not support it.
Oh,
So
like
I'll put it
literally
down.
the whole entire structure, we have to do the whole entire, okay,
So I'll do a motion to
Yeah.
draft a letter of support to the county council in favor of Bill 83.
do I have a second?
Second.
So Commissioner Kumatani seconds. Do we have a vote of all in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, aye, 6. And then no no's because we don't have any more commissioners. So the recommendation to draft a support letter for Bill 83 has passed. And now what we can do is start to go down to the recommendations, which is, I think, the important section of our letter. Should we do one more?
I heard your motion as to draft a letter. Was it to
A
draft
letter of support.
He did say support.
I did say support.
So that would be the first point, the commission.
Support
Support
it.
this meeting failed to support Bill 83. That's comment number one, and how are you gonna go into either comment or recommendation? Discuss and vote on that. So you guys want to start with
So should we just start with the same 5 that we're reviewing?
start with one by one, discuss it, add it or not
Okay,
add it.
okay. So I'll start with a reevaluation of the fine structure. Is that something that we would like to support? Or, I'm sorry, is that something that we would like to recommend within our letter to council? And I'll just go from left to right and we'll end up with Gonzalez because he's on screen, so that will be perfect. So I'll start with Justin Canales, Commissioner.
I would say, yes, I don't know if we're gonna be, are we just sending abroad, like, they should change it and maybe think about increasing them? And are we gonna be detailed in what we think they should be, or just, I guess, just saying that we recommend that they look at the fee structure and look at increasing them to make it, not for, what I'm talking about, not easy for them to just pay the fine and still make money off of it. So I guess that would be my one question to that.
Okay, what I can do is read the current language and specifically give recommendations on language to modify if it is a matter of not supporting the current language.
Okay.
Yes, so the current language is reevaluate fine structure and amount to increase the likelihood of compliance by adjusting to a cost that would be more than the potential revenue of future sales from the event. And then there is an example of the $5 water bottle with an event of less than 200, let's say 175 people. The revenue, just basic math, not taxes, like all of that. The basic math would be $875 in revenue. The fee for that stands right now at $400. So the vendor could accrue still $475 of revenue by paying the fine. So that's just an example of what we would be trying to avoid. The goal of this recommendation is to increase the likelihood of compliance. Okay, Commissioner Kumasani.
So the way you're stating it, you're addressing vendors or the everyday resident?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to reach?
So this bill specifically is going to county events. So they are for to my understanding, based on the bill, they would be vendors, contractors, or collaborators of the county for events that the county is hosting. Or county infrastructure and county buildings.
So that's going to be the focus of conversation with county events.
Bill 83. Yeah. But not just events, but maybe.
Oh, here,
Yeah,
it says special events, so I think that's for this article is, section 20.05.04, section B would be for the special events, so I think this is for gatherings, public gatherings, right? Which do tend to have pretty high waste and film impacts when they have congregations of lots of people.
And the difference or that gap of revenue versus fine actually increases the larger the group is. So up to like 2,000 people, they were.
You want me to read it out?
Yeah, just so folks understand, commission knows what we're talking about regarding fines, that would be great.
So it says a violation of this article in connection with a special.
Oh, I'm so
event.
sorry. I'm gonna pause. We're having. Okay,
Technical
in
difficulty.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
You probably wanted to.
10.
read it.
thank you. Okay,
So a fine of $200 for the first violation, 2, a fine of $400 for the second violation, and 3, for any subsequent violation, a fine not to exceed A, $400 in the case of an event of no more than 200 persons, 600 in the case of an event of more than 200 but not more than 400, and 800 in the case of an event of more than 400 but not more than 600, or $1,000 in the case of more than 600 persons. So a special event means an event or occasion that is outside of the normal or regular activities of the host or the participants. And it says here, the director shall determine the applicable number of persons with respect to the special event. So
I just have a question, and I guess I must have missed it, but,
Yeah.
when they're looking at the size of the events, because a lot of them need permits, otherwise how would they be enforced? How would you actually enforce these fines if there's no policing or enforcement? Because there's a lot of events, and a lot of them go, they just have these events, this is what happens, and that's it. So if they're gonna make a rule with this, how are they gonna monitor each of these different events and the sizes of them in order to determine how much you have? That's. I missed something, but that's what I get. I mean, yeah, this sounds really good. The money's gonna come in if we have all these events, but how are you gonna police that or enforce that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I did not read that outlined in the bill. I could make an educated guess of maybe how that process would go, but that's just a guess. And so I don't have the outlined answer within the bill that provides that information.
I guess I say that too because there are other functions that go on, and a lot of things are not.
Right.
So it's, it just sets the
So
perception that, you know, how are you gonna monitor all this? Who's gonna monitor this? What office is gonna do the monitoring?
So that could be a recommendation.
yeah, that's actually.
that could be a with comment. So would you like to make that comment of within that recommendation or
I think
I
so.
said, Commissioner Komatani, you supported this recommendation. So I guess we are to you, Commissioner Kosaku. Do you want to support with recommendation?
Yeah.
What would you like to recommend?
Not so much the recommendation, I'm just questioning, with all of this coming up, how are we going to enforce?
So maybe the success of fines
Determined by,
is based on a viable,
What you
viable.
guys wanna keep in mind too is keep it real simple,
Right.
making bullet points and then put detail on it, bullet points, because people that are gonna use this, want it to stick in their heads. I see, number one, you're supporting the bill. Number two,
So I have a quick question actually on that.
sure,
Because I understand that council wants that simple answer of do we support it and do we not. I also believe that council needs it needs education.
up to you guys, like comments.
I don't,
so but if
we
you-
do want to, and yeah, and I think that we also would like to educate and use it as an opportunity to educate and showcase that this supports broader structures and to provide references for those.
Then I think that's a good idea. What I'm saying is that communication, communicating right, there's effective ways to do that. And that's what I have. That I want to keep bullet points very clear. Number one, you support the bill. Number two, you recommend an increase in the fine amount to promote compliance. And we have on that. And then what Commissioner Tsuka saying is that she would like the council to consider clarifying how the ordinance will be enforced.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay,
it's like the fire
clarifying.
marshal,
Okay.
if they go in to check the event size, I know that, on permits with the county, they have to state at least an expected attendance on the permit application.
So you might want to consider, going through these topics, these points, saying, point three, we asked the council to clarify in the ordinance how it will be enforced. And then if you want to have detail like Chair Perez is saying, to educate them, put that underneath, or even defer to Chair Perez.
I don't think within the recommendations there are, I just meant like as another, overall. So yeah,
But these are just my suggestions. You guys can see it.
yeah, no, that's a great recommendation. So, do you, Commissioner Asuka, support with the recommendation or clarification around enforcement? Okay. Commissioner Beats?
I support.
Commissioner Garcia?
I have to abstain or pass on this in particular because I've just accepted the position of executive director of the Kona Brew Fest. And I think it potentially is a conflict for me to take a position on fees and fines and stuff. I support the bill, but I don't feel comfortable taking a position on fees.
Understood. So, so we would still have. That was vote. Okay. So, and then do we have meetings?
Okay, right.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break while we address the electronic communications, and we will reconvene at 11. Let's just go ahead and reconvene at 11:20. And folks that are online, you will have to sign back in to be able to join.
Maybe not.
Oh, possibly. I'm being told possibly. I
Okay.
guess you'll find out in about 6 minutes.
All right, pausing.